What's up? We got legendary Big Y in the house today. How you doing, Big Y?
I'm blessed and highly favored. Thank you for having me, brother.
Awesome, man. Well, we're excited to have you on the show today and
Yes, sir.
kind of talk about you're a legend in this West Coast hip hop, and
So they say.
and I got a lot of questions, and a lot of the fans want to know more about Big Y. So, why don't you give us who Big Y is and kind of your start in the game?
Started off a young dude from Inglewood, you know what I mean? Hip hop was I was part of the early passion of just hip hop, period, you know what I mean? And I always wanted to rap, even when everybody was breakdancing, Mind you, this is the 80s, 83, 84, you know what I mean? So, I was real passionate about, just the whole hip hop culture, just everything about it, you know what I mean? I wanted to do it, you know what I mean? And, I just studied it and practiced it, you know what I mean? And, I dove into it, I always said, like, this is what I was gonna do, you know what I mean? I tried to play sports, growing up as a kid, you know what I mean? I played the baseball and basketball. I was too heavy to make the team for football. They wouldn't let me play because I was overweight. You know what I mean? They wanted me to play with the big kids. I was like, man, I ain't playing with the dudes that got mustaches. So eventually I stopped playing ball, when I was a kid. And, I just went deep into the rap, and just started sharpening my skills, being around early dudes, started off more so when I got in junior high, being around like Red Rum and Corrupt, and my best friend Marcel Williams, what the world know him as Mental. You heard Tupac talk about him. That was like my best friend. He the one that actually taught me how to rap. He actually the one that gave Corrupt his name. And Red Rum and watching them dudes battle. I kind of played the back. I used to just beatbox because them dudes was hard then. You know what I mean? And I just like, nah, I'm going to keep my little rhymes to myself, And at night or later on in the evening, me and Marcel be on, like, nah, say your word like this, then follow it up with this, And I just sharpened my tools up real heavy, you know what I mean? And, I started trying to push forward for it more, once I got in high school.
So, talking about the West Coast and West Coast culture, I want to go back a little bit. How did you get into, gang banging and earlier on?
I mean, I chose to step forward, in that arena, just by circumstance. You know what I mean? Love and loyalty and just that camaraderie with my friends that's around, you know what I mean? And then I think what really hit a nerve for me, we was back then it was rough, man. Gang, the streets was crazy out here with the gang shit, you know what I'm saying? In the 80s, early 80s, I remember one time going up to the Hawthorne Mall, you know what I mean? And I got jacked by some Crips. I had on these shoes back then called espadrilles, but they call them Toms now. And with some burgundy cords and a sweater and my jewelry, and these dudes jumped out and got on all that federated folk. I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? Like, you know what I mean? Pull out a pistol, you know what I mean? I let them get the chain, but I kept my hands in my pocket. You want to get in my ring and my bracelet, you know what I mean? Just going through that, and then shortly after that, I experienced one of my friends getting killed from gangbanging. You know what I'm saying? Walking home, Anthony Wilson, he got killed. And that kind of struck a nerve, you know what I mean? And it kind of started making me feel like, damn, we keep getting into it, you know what I mean? Like, we over here and I'm walking the streets, but it's always these other niggas pulling up, tripping. You know what I'm saying? And we and them, chasing us and shit and shooting at us and shit, you know what I mean? I'm 10, 11 years old, and I'm like, man, fuck this shit, you know what I'm saying? And that's when the anger, started to develop. Like, if this is us over here, then fuck them. You know what I mean? Like, why they fucking with us? Like, you know what I mean? But not knowing it was already an ignorant seed planted in our area, in our communities that came long before me. You know what I mean? And just frustration and just being down with my homeboys drove me in that direction. You know what I mean?
And then I
It's not
remember,
nothing that I glorify or nothing to be proud of either.
yeah.
You know what I mean? We are who we are now, but it's like, that's it's lifestyle, you know what I mean?
And I remember you telling me before you kind of were working for the Jamaicans or working with the Jamaicans that lived in the bottoms at the time.
Yeah. I actually stayed on 99th Street, which is the other street across the street from the bottoms. That's where I really, got my feet wet, staying on 99th Street. My mom used to be gone, single parent, and I used to hang outside. My homies would go in the house, and I was, my mom be gone, so I was like a little man. I'd be outside with my radio, listening to music, and it was some Jamaicans that stayed in my building, and they used to sit in there and play cards, and then they used to, have. Me and my other homies that grew up with me, they used to send us on errands and stuff like that, you know what I mean? But I hung out late. So they started attaching themselves more to me because I was out late, you know what I mean? Not more than the other homies, but I was fucking with them more, you know what I mean? Late at night, sending me places, giving me, they'd give me $100 bill to go get a cheeseburger and a Coke. I do that 10 times every day. It's by the end of the week. I remember one time I counted up almost a couple $1,000. Mind you, I'm 11. You know what I mean? And just watching them hustle and seeing all the money. They were bringing me clothes from out of town, and you know what I mean? And, then they, one day they heard me rapping, and then there was another dude that lived in the building named Tony. He was trying to manage groups and do his thing, you know what I mean? So they kind of partnered up and became my managers. They would bring me back Fila suits and link chains and stuff that wasn't even popular out here yet. I remember they brought me back the same troop tennis shoes that LL wore on the I'm Bad cover. You know what I mean? I went to school with them on, and niggas was like, how you get, you know what I mean? And I'm like, yeah, I remember, I was a kid, They got me in the studio. I was recording records. I actually recorded a exclusive championship record for the Lakers that was played at one of their championship parties. And it was on Warner Brothers, I think, Reprise, one of them labels, I don't know. But I got a taste of the studio life early, being in the studio and working on, you know what I mean, and learning. And I'm like, yeah, this is it. They start taking me to rap conventions, Jack the Rapper, and all that kind of stuff. And they knew I loved LL Cool J, you know what I'm saying? I remember one time they had me up there. I'm walking around rapping or whatever. They like, look at this little dude, little fat dude with his Kangol on. He's rapping it, you know what I mean? And I got that already, got the little attitude about myself. I think I'm tough, And then one day, we in there, we in the convention, and a little while later, somebody tapped me on my shoulder. My manager said, man, somebody trying to holler at you. And I turned around, and it's LL Cool J. I'm looking at this dude like, what the fuck am I supposed to do now? You know what I'm saying? Like, nigga, you know how many times I done played my radio back to back. Got my own radio, you know what I mean? The same radio, damn near the one on the album cover.
Yeah.
And he's like, what's up, man? I'm like, I just snapped out of it. Like, yeah, what's up? Woo, woo, woo. We hung out for a minute. He bumped out. And that was more of an influence to drive me, you know what I mean? I ended up doing shows. I had one show I had 11 years old. My mom's they think I'm going at the park at basketball practice or something, but I'm leaving every day going to Santa Monica to rehearse with a live band for a show at a nightclub. And then once I got the show down and it was time for the show, I'm like, look, I got a show. They got you got a what? I'm like, yeah, tell everybody to come. They looked up. They didn't even know, well, what you gonna wear? Don't worry about that. I come out the bathroom. My mama like, boy, I got a feeder suit on, this big ass link chain, bracelet. I got a Kangol on. They're like, where you get all this stuff? Yeah, I ain't gonna worry about nothing. I'm like, just don't, it's cool, And we went to the show. And I was mad because my mama wouldn't let me hang out after the show. Like, boy, you ain't staying in no nightclub. You did your show, now let's go. I'm hot. I'm like, Mike, tell her, man, let me stay. I'm in heavy duty. I'm stay by going home. I need to stay. My name was Heavy Duty. I got my name. I actually, they're like, you need a rap name, I'm looking up to rappers LL, Heavy D, you know what I mean? I'm at the house and I see the vacuum cleaner and it say Heavy Duty on it. I'm like, Heavy D, Heavy Duty, a little different. Yeah, this is it. I'm rolling with this. And I never forget my boy. I actually got a picture of it. My boy sent me about 2 months ago, that record I was telling you about with my name on it, Heavy Duty. And I signed it and gave it to his mom. And she still has that. I tripped out, But that was the early, my early, stages of really getting influenced by it and jumping in it.
So how did you segue in from being heavy duty and out there with the hip hop to banging on wax?
Lifestyle and art kind of touched each other. You know what I'm saying? Hip hop is driven about what you see and how you live and what's going on around you and then, what you driven by. So that's naturally what we talked about, you know what I mean? And one of my other favorite rappers that I looked up to that kind of straddled the line and was more, he was gangster, but he was more hip hop, was King T. You know what I'm saying? And I'm like, yeah, this is the type of shit I'm gonna talk about. Like, this is what I'm into, you know what I mean? It's like, NWA was big, but it's like, you don't never hear about the ones that was really the influence, the early CMW, you know what I'm saying? The King T, Mixmaster Spade, and, the underground tapes from the swap meet, you know what I mean? I was buying them, listening to all of this,
Yep.
You know what I mean? And it told the way they was talking, it was like I couldn't talk about, the Bronx and Brooklyn, you know what I mean? So I'm listening to these dudes, I'm like, yeah, this is what we doing, And then Banging on Wax came about, I wasn't even too much rapping, we was just gang banging and doing bullshit. And Red Rum called me and was like, man, we putting this project together called Banging on Wax, And I'm like, shit, it's a Blood and Crip album. I'm like, whatever, I'm in, I never cared about for me, it wasn't about the aspects of we finna be talking about being Bloods and being Crips. I looked at it as a doorway to get in what I needed to do, and which was rap. You know what I mean? And, Rum took his time picking the dudes that he wanted to represent the Blood side, because he's a rapper's rapper, you know what I mean? He rap, you know what I mean? So I was glad he chose me, and we just happened to do our thing on it and make a lot of noise with it. And, everybody know the B-side, we kind of ran that album, you know what I mean? Just from song concepts and delivery and real MCing, like, you know what I mean? From the street side, So, that's how I got into the Banging on Wax thing, you know what I mean? But, our motive and our goal was to actually put out regular music that didn't focus on talking about, you know what I mean, dissing and all of that gangbang, you know what I mean? So that's how we came into creating the Young Soldierz, you know what I mean? We was already a group, the Young Soldierz. And so when we did that, we made sure we got at the people that was behind Banging on Wax, like, look, we doing this, but y'all need to do this for us.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And we let them know and get them to understand, like, this stuff that y'all got us doing, we putting our faces and our lives out here and letting everybody know this shit's dangerous. So we need some real quality stuff of what we need to be doing for ourselves done too. And that's how come, the Young Soldierz album was actually the first album, I think, or one of the first albums that came out after Banging on Wax. And, Banging on Wax 2, we kind of, me and my boy Lil Stretch, we kind of played more of a production part in that album and introducing some of our other homies to the, to it, like Lil Laniac and Lil Hawk and B Brazy and, you know what I'm saying, like all of them, So
So you transfer from the Young Soldierz. You do that. What happened with Young Soldierz? And then let's talk about, your next project, the Relativez.
Well, the Young Soldierz, we made some noise out here on the streets in L.A. We was popular, you know what I mean? Like back then we was YG and RJ when they was first coming out. Like we was the one young ones that was hot in the streets, you know what I'm saying? And we had a big record called East Side, West Side that was a crazy club hit, you know what I mean? Like it was just real animated, And, Suge got wind of it. And one day, one of the homies, actually, rest in peace, my boy Flipside from OFTB, he reached out to Stretch and, like, man, Suge want to holler at y'all, man. He wanted to see what's up with y'all, So we went and met Suge at the Murder Was the Case filming. You know what I mean? And he like, what's up, man? What y'all want to do? Y'all ready to come to the road? And we like, shit, what's up? You know what I mean? And he broke us off some money, like when this car gave us like dumb cash, like crazy cash, like, you know what I mean? We like, what the fuck? He like, yeah, man, just going up to the office, man, and holler at Hank Caldwell. He gonna put y'all paperwork together, whatever y'all want, y'all contract, however y'all want it. We like, fuck. So we went back and told, the dude, Ronnie Phillips, like, look, you can have that Young Soldier album. You can have all of that. We taking one song and we out. He was like, all right, man, I knew, y'all knew that was going to probably happen one day. Y'all, he kind of blessed it. Y'all know, he kind of regretted. He was kind of hurt, you know what I mean? But, we growing, you know what I mean? And where we're being offered to be able to do, he couldn't do it, you know what I'm saying? And that's what happened. And then we ended up remixing East Side, West Side and putting it on the Murder Was the Case soundtrack and became part of the Death Row family, We was around, through everything. We didn't put the record out, but, he gave us just like $250,000, all of it, not no budget. He gave us the check,
Yeah.
So shit. Imagine that, we living it up, we ain't tripping. We in the studio recording. We not even recording that Can-Am with everybody else. We got our own studio. We went blocked out echo sound, you know what I mean? So because we didn't want to go, shit, we had money. I ain't got to wait to go schedule because it's like, we had to go behind the studio schedule. You got the Dog Pound, Snoop Dogg, Rage, all these different people, you know what I mean? So they're like, okay, y'all can get in the studio from midnight to 12 noon the next day. Shit. We tried that a couple of times, man. You talking about falling asleep on the road, trying to get back in the noon from being up all night. We ran our own program, but we was there for it all, man. I was right there in the front row when Suge was like, if you don't want the executive producer all in the videos, I was right there, me and the homies. I'm like, whoa.
So you was at the Source Awards when it happened?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, wow.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I was right there, We did a lot, man, shit. We learned a lot, traveled a lot, with Suge, hung out with dude, learned a lot. You know what I mean? Free Suge, man, that's the homie, And,
You think Suge will be out this lifetime?
Yep.
You do?
I do. Now he's not in those restricted, conditions. He's a thinking motherfucker. And he gonna figure out a way to get some money and go, you know what I mean? And something gonna happen. They gonna find their way back in court. Something gonna give. I guarantee you gonna see Suge Knight again, believe that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You got a lot of motherfuckers that's running around here. Fuck him and fuck that and fuck all that. But gangster, man, I don't kick no man when he down. I don't wish jail on nobody.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's sucker shit. But yeah, but he'll be home, and then from there, once Pac came home, we was chilling or whatever, it was cool. I got a chance to meet dude a few times. You know what I mean? When Pac came home, it was like shit, everything just changed, you know what I mean? It was like an uproar, you know what I mean? Always a bunch of people in the studio, news cameras, and this motherfucker, that motherfucker. It was crazy, And we young gangsters, so we ain't really on no groupie shit, you know what I'm saying? So we just happened to meet, run into each other, and my first meeting with dude was more so, they didn't have no weed in the studio. And mind you, even though we had bread, we had all that money, I was still selling weed. You know what I mean? We had all that money, but shit, I knew, I had to keep my day job, you know what I'm saying, regardless of what was going on. So, I had just that day, I had just bought a quarter pound of weed and bagged it all up. You know what I mean? It was like, yeah, the dude Big Y from Young Soldierz got some weed. And so I ended up by going the hallway. He's like, what's up, man? I'm like, what's happening? And we shake hands and meet or whatever. He's like, man, how much weed you got? I said, man, I got a few dubs, you know what I'm saying? I'm like, I want all of it. I'm like, well, all right, nigga, well, I'm keeping this one because I'm finna smoke this. You can buy these. I saw in the weed, he gave me $200 bills, you know what I mean? And he got ready to walk off and walk. I'm like, hold on, man. I'm like, what is this you just gave me, man? He like, man, don't play yourself, man. Don't let nobody know you ain't up on what's hot, and what's popping. I'm like, what you talking about, man? He was like, look, man, these just dropped. These the new big face $100 bills, man. He's like, how much money you got on you? I said, I got about $3,500 on me. He was like, give me $1,000 like worth for them. And I forgot, it was something like $1,000. Here, and take the rest of that little punk ass money you got and go to the bank and turn them little ass heads in and get you some of these. I'm like, man, I feel like saying fuck you, but he like these is hard. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So my first introduction to the big face $100 bill was from Pac. You know what I mean? I end up going, I went back down to his room. He's like, come back down, man, to the studio or whatever. I walk in the studio and it's candles and shit burning, the lights is off and shit. It's niggas drinking Heinekens and shit. Pac in the back in the booth fucking around, but they playing a record. And the motherfucker just he's stopping, and then I hear the dude fucking with the vocals, and I hear the shit, let us pray, my niggas, because we have sin. I'm like, what the fuck is this? And they playing the record, and this nigga, come with me. I'm like, God damn. But I had to go back to my session, and it's crazy because later on after he died, I'm like, fuck, I was listening to this shit when they was fucking mixing it or whatever the fuck they was doing, you know what I mean? Because he was already probably 10, 15 albums probably in before he died. So them songs was already made, you know what I mean? And that was my introduction to meeting dude. And then, one time after that, we ended up going to Cabo San Lucas for Danny Boy video. And I don't know how I end up with these dudes, man. They niggas, come on, man, come on, roll with us. And then, I ain't gonna put it out there, him and another rapper was getting into it. Pac calling him all kind of bitches and all kind of crazy shit. And get out, you on the squad. And I'm like, oh shit, this nigga's crazy. Hung out with him, you know what I mean? That was the last time, and then, after a while, we knew Suge wasn't, the way he was putting out records, I guess they had their tactics. It wasn't like how it is now. They would focus on what was hot. Even shit, Snoop and them was kind of on the back. It's focusing on Pac, you know what I'm saying? So we was like, man, let us go on and bone out, man. We gonna go on and roll. Ain't no love lost, Suge, but we gonna, we gonna try to get ready to roll. But before we roll, he still kept us involved and shit. We got on the gang-related soundtrack. We working on the album, and I'll never forget. We was like, man, we should try to get Pac to do the hook. You know what I mean? And I was like, I'm going to ask that nigga. You know what I mean? We asked him, and he was going to do it. You know what I mean? We actually, I think Stretch asked him. I think Bolo got at him. Well, either way go, he said he would do it. But, time went on. That shit ended up happening and he got killed and it never worked out like that. You know what I'm saying? And it came out, the record came out, and then, once Death Row kind of folded, you know what I mean? Once Top Pac died and Suge went down, that was the end of Death Row. You know what I mean? Nobody couldn't run that company like dude. Dre wasn't around, you know what I mean? And people don't know that affected a lot of people's lives. That was actually artists and people that worked for that label. That affected a lot of people's lives because, shit, music started to change. People wasn't fucking with West Coast music like that on some gangster shit. Like, you know what I mean? It was like a black cloud over everything, you know what I mean? So, shit, I had to fall back in the real world, hustling, trying to get, working at little jobs here and there. It was rough.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I found myself working a couple different. I was a co-teacher at a school for high-risk kids. Worked at USC in the bookstore. Mind you, I got a name out here on the streets as a rapper.
Yeah.
But shit, I ain't never too proud to take care of myself and do what I got to do. So I went to work, man. In the mix of that, and I had the job teaching the kids, and something. It was a situation that happened where I ended up cursing, and one of the kids told on me, and they fired me. But when they fired me, that's when led to the ride down the street. And Sugar Booger was like, man, we should be our own group, just me and you. But we need a name, And then one day we driving down Prairie, and Booger was like, nigga, we gonna be the Relativez. We ain't finna call ourselves, we cousins, but we ain't saying that shit. We gonna be the Relativez. I'm like, this might be the greatest shit you ever came up with, dog. Like, you know what I mean? He's another thinking motherfucker too, Sugar Booger. And we did that, man, and we hooked up with some cats from San Diego and went and recorded our first album in a 2-bedroom apartment with a producer named Steve Vicious, riding back and forth from LA up to Dago, coming up with hooks and working on shit in the car on the way up there. You know what I mean? We got up there, recording the music, knocking shit out. Just, we didn't know where it was going to go. We didn't know, you know what I mean? And we dropped that first Dirty Money, and that shit, like I said, we was the first, like we was like how YG and RJ and all them young niggas was. We was the hottest niggas on the streets, like, period. No matter where you was from, wasn't nobody fucking with me and Booger when we first came out.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And then we went from there. We had some issues after the first album. We did that second album, The Takeover. After the first album, towards the end of the first album, I went to the Feds. When I got out, while I was in the halfway house, we recorded the Takeover album. And that motherfucker, that set the tone right there, And we worked on that motherfucker, what I'm saying, me and Bug, and bringing in Braves here and there, you know what I mean? Making sure he got on the songs where he was going to stand out, you know what I mean? I remember we was working on that beat, the Like That record, It was actually it was a competition. What's up, Dub? I know you going to remember this. Dub C wanted that beat, and he was hot. Rashad was our producer, you know what I'm saying? And we had a crazy budget, so we locked his ass down. And we like, fuck that, we want this beat. You know what I mean? Dub wanted it bad, and we laid our verses or whatever, and I'm like, man, this shit gonna be crazy. And I remember telling Braves, I'm like, you gotta come on the third verse and murder this shit. You know what I'm saying? I had to go back to the halfway house. And so I talked to him on the phone before I get back to the studio. I'm like, what's up, nigga? I'm like, you do your shit? I remember like it was yesterday. What? I'm like, you do your shit? What do you mean did I do my shit? What? I'm like, Braves, what's up? You'll see, Pootie. You'll see. I went to the studio, turned that shit on, man. I'm listening to our verses. That shit came on. I'm tired all the I'm like, oh my God. Then when he's do the blood walk, I do mine. Like, listen, man, listen here. We played that song over and over and over and over again. And Braves was a fool. He animated as fuck. So we got this thing. We do when you kick your legs up. He going up. He got shit everywhere. He all in your face, slapping his curl. It's wet. It's all in your face. He going nuts. We made it, Pootie. We made it. You know what I'm saying? And that ended up being a legendary record still to this day. You play that motherfucker anywhere, you know what I mean? And that album was big for us, you know what I'm saying? For all of us. All, you know, not just me and Boogie, but for him too, you know. And that's what kind of set the tone. That album set the tone for all three of us, really, you know. And then, you know, we end up leaving, dude. And then, you know, it was like, you know, we didn't have our true independence of putting our own music out. So we would go to different cats that had some money or different deals and situation that would kind of facilitate the situation, you know what I mean? And, you know, and after a while, you know, we did the Money Respect Money album. And then that was the last, you know, true Relative album. Now, after that, we did a few others that people think that's albums, but they really was just like songs we had and shit that got through together. We got a little bread, you know what I mean? But, you know, we kept performing and, you know, touring and doing our thing, you know what I mean? And it's crazy the name we made as far as with the Relatives, you know, but I know it would have been, if Relatives would have came in this day and era, in this era, it would have been, we'd be a lot bigger, you know. We didn't have the access to Instagram and social media and you know what I'm saying, all of the, you know, YouTube and, you know what I'm saying, all of those different things, you know what I mean? And those are different elements that what makes the have-nots and the ones that that's not heard, you know, that give them a shot, you know what I mean? You know.
So let me ask you this. So how did Cali Swag come about?
Once again, the roller coaster ride of my life with this music. Music changed. I had a different agenda. You know, me and Bug had different agendas, what we wanted to do with our life. You know what I'm saying? As far as music, he wasn't really, he was really hustling and really pimping, you know what I mean, and hustling and doing this thing, really trying to get some money. You know, I was still, fuck that, we're gonna make it rapping, you know. And I struggled, you know what I'm saying? Sleeping in my car here and there, you know what I mean? Just too proud to go get a job. You know, I'm keeping my name, who I am. A lot of people didn't know I was going through, you know what I mean? And, you know, I slept in my truck somewhat, you know, so much. Sometime I got, doctor told me I almost died from carbon monoxide poisoning, you know. And then, you know, I just kept going, man, doing mixtapes and just doing my thing, you know. And I hooked up with DJ Quest and was doing my thing solo. You know, started doing different things, whatever. Then I met my boy Polly Rob. You know, we just recording stuff, you know what I mean? And I'd always been telling Wacko, like, look, man, you need to come help me with this music shit, you know? He like, yeah, bro, I'll get at you later, you know, whenever, you know what I mean? It's my own boy, you know? And then, you know, after a while, you know, I left and I went to Atlanta with El Dorado Red. He had a bright idea. I'm going wherever the bright ideas is. Mind you, I'm back staying with moms. Come out here to Atlanta, nigga. We're going to get at Jim. We're going to start Bird Gang West. This is when Jim Jones got Bird Gang going. And I'm like, all right, let's do it. We went out there, met Jim at a show, you know. He was with it or whatever, but I guess, you know, what we was doing, it was kind of conflicting what he had going on. You know, there's people like, well, what is this? These people promoting this and, you know what I mean? So it really wasn't kind of working out the way we thought it was. And after a while, you know, me and Wacko, we chopping it up, whatever. He like, man, let's go find our own studio. Start our own shit. You know, I'm like, shit, what we gonna call it? Wacko came up with the name Checkmate, you know. And it was all, we partners in the company, but it was about me rapping. It was kind of like a Biggs and Jay or Dame situation, like, you know. And it was about me, you know what I mean? And we pushing, doing mixtapes. Got Polly Rob in there. We got this little studio. We got a half-open, broke computer, a microphone in the closet. You know, it ain't even set up like no studio yet. But we on. We recording. We got our own club, you know. And we just started building, man, and building and building. And we started trying to make some money to keep everything going. So we started a little after our little hole in the wall blood club called Lil Belize. The restaurant was Lil Belize, but that was, you know, we throwing parties, you know, bloods from everywhere, line wrapped around the corner, packing that motherfucker out. We making bread like a motherfucker, selling shake blunts, you know, the water leaves from the weed. Roll all them motherfuckers up, selling $5 hollers in there. We on, you know. We putting it together, but after a while, you know, Wacko started going through some different things. The money wasn't, you know, it was getting shady. You know what I'm saying? I had to go out and get sponsorship to stay at the studio, do different things, and I started looking at where music was. You know what I mean? And it wasn't in our favor over here, you know. And from coming from ground up, where we was at right now with me solo, I'm getting older, you know what I mean? And I'm solo by myself now, you know what I mean? I could do it, but then I'm looking like I see what else is going on. So I throw a birthday party, and I hired my boy Big B to DJ it. And he like, man, I'm telling you, Big Y, you gotta look into this shit, the jerkers, man, the jerk movement, man. They like skateboarders look like, but they not. They just like party crews, and it'd be 200 of them in a party, you know. I'm like, yeah. And so we, you know, like, yeah, this, you know, this is my little homie right here. He carrying the records. Little young nigga with dreadlocks. He carrying the records. It's Ty Dolla $ign. You know, he a part of it. They call it the Pushers. I'm like, yeah. So I started doing my research and really checking them out. I'm like, damn, it's a grip of these little motherfuckers. And he's like, man, they got these other crews, the city celebs, and then they got these dudes. And I'm looking like, and I had already had an idea, like, you know, the Cali Swag District. You know, it was just the name. You know what I mean? And I'm like, you know, at first I had a weird-ass idea in my head. Matter of fact, it's going to be me. Maybe I put Polly Rob and see if I could get Joe. You know what I mean? He wasn't even Joe Moses then. He was just getting out of jail. He was Moses the God. You know what I mean? And I'm like, nah, that ain't going to work. That's crazy. You know, and at the time, my homeboy Trick, he used to manage some young groups, you know, and the group kind of situation, whatever they had going on didn't work. So him and his partner, they started putting, you know, money behind and getting studio time from one of their young partners. His name was Young. He was called Young G Money then. And for whatever reason, they you know, their financial situation didn't allow them to keep going with Young. But Young kept trying to do it on his own. He was working at Vons, getting his check on top of the liquor he was stealing out of there, selling it. He was a hustler, you know what I mean? So he doubled back on me by himself and started renting studio time, buying beats from me. I'm producing records for him, you know what I mean? And he was coming to the studio. Then one day he came, he had this little yellow dude with him, you know, and his name was M-Bone, you know, and they coming to the studio every day. It's like they can't be still. They dancing, you know, they freaking, they all day long, every song, you know what I mean? And I'm like, that's dope, man, you know. And then one day I was playing something, and they was in there, and they started dancing, and they was doing like this choreographed little dance step. I'm like, what is that? What is that y'all doing? You know what I mean? They was like, oh, this shit, man, we be doing this at the parties. I'm like, y'all made that up? They was like, nah. Because I'd asked Young, I'm like, well, you need to find out who the DJ, you know, is. The young DJs that DJ all y'all parties, that's who gonna make your music pop. You need to get him, start hanging with him. He was like, well, that's the dude, this dude named DJ C Smooth, you know. And I'm like, okay, and they told me about him. But then when they started doing the dance or whatever, and I asked him about it, it was like, yeah, he the one made this dance step up. I'm like, but he's the DJ. He's like, man, that nigga put the record on and let the record play and leave from behind the dance booth, the DJ booth, and get on the floor and start dancing, and everybody be doing it with him. I'm like, no shit? And I'm like, oh, that's hard. Bring him up here. So they come with him. So now I'm trying to find a way to get some records done. So I'm like, man, I'm going to put y'all on this record I'm making. I had a song was trying to pitch the DC Shoes, you know. And I put him on it, you know, but he didn't have no confidence. So when he first spit his verse, it was terrible. You know, we working it out or whatever, and they're like, nah, man, and M-Ball like, nah, big homie, we got another homie too that rap. His voice is different. You gotta hear him. You're not gonna understand it when you see him, but just give him a chance and listen to it. So the next day they come back with JR. And he like, what's up, big homie? He little bitty little nigga. You know, and I'm like, he get to spit and he got this abstract ass flow, bars. I'm like, God damn, this little nigga hard. You know what I mean? And we chilling or whatever. And the shit is weird. You know, I'm in like the little control room, the door's open. And they standing over, you know, against the wall. And they all standing next to each other, leaning against the wall, like not intentionally. So now you got this high yellow dude, this dark-skinned dude, this little Asian-looking kid, and this red-faced, red-haired kid taller than everybody. And I'm looking at these little niggas, and I'm like, this is my fucking group. This is Cali swag right here. This is Cali swag. And I'm like, man, y'all want to be a group? And they was like, fuck it. I'm like, nah, but we're going to make it kind of like how the Pushers is and bring all y'all friends and bring everybody. Let's turn this motherfucker up. So I started letting them have parties in the studio. What'd I do that for? I didn't know it was going to be like, man, Young charging $3 at the door. They got a line down Florence. All these little girls, I'm like, I'm foul up in here with all these little girls. Hey, big homie. I'm like, oh, I got to go. I got to get out of here. What the fuck? You gonna get me thrown in jail. Man, they partying and dancing. They partying their ass off. The homie come home. They have an idea, they go back and forth about the idea. So they create, it's all about teaching me how to the Dougie. And they come up with it. They talking about the dance because they was always doing the dance, and they start trying to make a beat, because Smooth and JR, they actually produced too. And it wasn't coming out right. So the homegirl Star that was up at the studio, she was like, let me try it. So she went in the studio and came out like, here, play this. And it, I'm like, damn. So they dancing, M-Bone is the life of it. So while the beat playing, he go to Dougie and just, without the,
Yeah.
And we put the chorus together and, they had some little pieces of it. The homeboy Rod, he had some little pieces he wanted that we should say. We all kind of just pieced it together and came with the hook, man. And that song, once that song was done, they threw a kickback. That's how we test all the records. Throw a kickback and see if everybody gonna party to it. My nigga, they turned that record on at 10 o'clock at night. That part, they kickback was rocked off of one song till 3 o'clock in the morning, over and over and over again. More people coming, they aiming people, they more girls coming, more people coming. It's like a rave in this little motherfucking studio now. And I'm looking like, we fucking got a hit record. I'm calling Wacko, I'm telling you this shit on. Yeah, whatever, man, we need to be working on your shit. All right, I'm gonna show you. Man, he seen that shit and heard that record. He like, man, we gotta get this shit going. Listen here. I had $75 to my name. I put some gas in my homie truck, went and bought a case of bottled waters, and had a camera that I had took from a nigga. And we jumped out, and the Star had a camera. we came up with a couple of different locations, and we went and shot the original video of Teaching Me How to Dougie. Man, we shot that video. Then we hooked up with Randy and Stephen Roker Chris Roker from the school tour. And we started going around from high school to high school to high school. And it was turning the schools up. And every time it did it, we told the kids, like, make sure y'all check the YouTube out. Your school gonna be on our YouTube. We gonna shout y'all out. So they was like, yeah, all the kids going crazy. Man, we went from school to school. That record just started taking off. We counting the views. Because our whole thing is, like, we got to pass Tooted and Booted. Tooted and YG hot with Tooted and Booted.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It was like, that's the little homie, you know what I mean? But we like, man, we got to get popping like them. You know what I'm saying? The pushers is on. So next thing you know, the record just going and going. We going I'm talking about every hour, it's thousands of views. It was weird. Like, you know how they be raising money on the telephones? Man, I swear by the next day, in 2 days, I think we was probably at like 10,000 views. You know what I mean? And that was a lot back then. In 2 days. And it just started going and going and going. And after a while, we just stopped paying attention. One day we looked up, that shit had 1 million views. Right. Yeah, and so after a while, the record just taking off more and more. And once they played it on the radio, that was it, man. We ended up doing the deal with Capitol, and the rest is in the history books.
And I'm sure, you get nice residuals off that.
Oh, yeah, we do okay.
Everybody's heard of that song, man. Everybody's heard of that song. Yeah. Let's talk about the evolution of Banging on Wax.
Yeah.
What's going on with that project?
It's a project, this year made 25 years to Banging on Wax, the original one. And so Red Rum had been wanting to do a new Banging on Wax, but I really wasn't trying to be involved with the whole thing no more, that whole, you know what I mean? But we was able to come together and make it make sense. And Wacko came up with the idea of saying, okay, instead of it just being the 25th anniversary album, let's make it the evolution of Banging on Wax, you know what I mean? And I'm like, yeah, okay, because the whole idea was like we was going to use new artists. So that made sense when he said, let's call it the evolution, you know what I mean? Because, we got, reached out and got all the artists that's affiliated now, that's popping now, but that's gang affiliated, you know what I mean? And it's pretty much what the climate is now. They do songs together anyway, like how you get the Nipsey Hussle and YG record and, stuff like that. So we just, that's what it was more about, showing the growth of it on how it's evolved since 25 years ago. You know what I mean? The whole climate of the gang culture and how it, and how it plays a part in music and how big it is now, because you got, probably 70%, 60% of the mainstream artists, especially coming from the West Coast, got some type of gang affiliation, but the music is hit records, So we wanted to tap in on that and do some big, create some big records and, and just, make our mark in history with something that we started with in the beginning, but showing it how it's evolved into something more positive and it's good music.
Yeah. What's your thoughts on the Tekashi 6ix9ine, Treyway, the whole incident with all those guys getting indicted by the feds? And
it's just a shame, man. I think that the kid didn't. I think the kid didn't realize, like, the magnitude of what he was involved in or representing. You know what I mean? He created a lot of hype around himself from, a lot of stuff that he was saying or whatever. But I think when you're dealing with a street gang and real a criminal situation, those things don't mix with entertainment, man. You know what I mean? Because after a while, they'll find their way. Anything that got anything to do with anything that's criminal and it's attached to somebody famous, you're going to be the one that they attack, especially if it looks like you're a financial source until this criminal situation that's going on. That's the way they look at it. That's why you look at the indictment, they calling them the enterprise. And you know what I'm saying? That's the same shit they did with John Gotti and all that, you know what I mean? So it's like, it's a delicate situation, man, when you're an artist and you in this music, you know what I mean? You got to know where to draw the line with things that you got going on, you know what I mean, with entertainment and involving yourself with things that's going on in the streets, you know what I mean? And I think they know he not no driving force from nothing going on in the streets, but he could be the potential finance, the money behind the situation because he's popular. You know what I mean? And the beefs and all the different things is based around him and fueled, you know what I'm saying, by the things that he's saying. I don't think just he never probably really had the chance. I don't know, you know, who was in his ear. I just don't see a real positive influence that could slow him down. You know what I mean? Before he, you know, because it's a shame, man. Like, you know, he was cocky about it. I'm 9 for 9 on the Billboard. That's big. You know what I mean? But here you are, you got this other element and all this other shit going on that's not going to work in your favor. You know what I mean? And when you read that paper and it say that in the United States versus you, your whole country versus me, that's fucked up. And when the government come after you, they got you, man. They not making shit up. They not, you know what I mean? They crossing a lot of T's and dotting a lot of I's before they come to arrest you. He in my prayers, I wish him the best, man. I don't wish that on nobody, man. I hope he can some way find a way back, you know what I mean, I don't know how the situation is. I don't know too much about it, you know what I mean? This is my first time ever even speaking on that kid, you know what I mean? But, you know, for his kid's sake, you know, and his own sake. He's still young, man. I called him a kid because he is, you know. I hope he can find his way back, man, and just be more humble about the decisions that he make and, you know, in the company that he keep.
Last question. Why in every movie, the blood gang they always reference to is Crenshaw Mafia?
Hey, man. All I can say, you had to been there back then. You know, obviously, the homies affected some people's lives that's making these movies. And they got some memories, you know what I mean? So they attach it to their memories, you know what I mean? Like, you know, hey, I don't know, man. I don't know, you know. The revolution will never be televised.
Well, man, we appreciate you coming by today, Big Y.
I appreciate you having me.
You're
man.
a good friend at Urban City TV, and you know, you're a legend. And we appreciate everything, bro.
Yeah.
All right, man.
I want to say happy birthday to my daughter, Carrington. Happy birthday, Tukimu. Yo, what's happening? It's your boy, Big Y. You watching Urban City TV. Woo-woo.